he blocked my number for 7 days. So I sent one email. And his boss replied in 2 minutes. The call didn't even ring. It went straight to that flat, polite message: "The person you are trying to reach is not available," like my phone had become a stranger to him overnight. I tried again because denial makes you do dumb things. Same result. No ring. No vibration on the other end. Just silence dressed up as a technical issue. My thumb hovered over the screen, and my pulse started thudding in my ears. I switched to FaceTime, because maybe it was just a network thing. It failed instantly. I opened our messages and typed, "Are you okay?" The little blue arrow turned into a red exclamation point. Not delivered. My throat went dry so fast it felt like someone had sprinkled sand in it. I stood in the kitchen with the kettle screaming behind me, the smell of burnt toast in the air, my hands trembling over my phone like I was holding something dangerous. 7 days. That's what he'd said the night before, almost casually, like he was requesting a vacation from my existence. "I'm going to need you to give me 7 days," he'd told me, eyes fixed on his laptop screen. No calls. No texts. "I've got a lot going on. Don't make this harder." I'd stared at him, trying to understand how a husband can set a time limit on access to him like he's customer support. I didn't even argue. I just asked, "What does that mean?" And he'd sighed like I was exhausting. "It means I need space," he'd said. 7 days. Then we'll talk. And then, without looking at me, he'd blocked my number. It was a Monday morning, which matters because Monday mornings are supposed to be routine. You're supposed to complain about the week starting, make coffee, send a quick "have a good day" text, and get on with life. I'm Paige. My husband is Derek. We've been married for 5 years, together for 9. No kids. 2 cats. A townhouse we bought when interest rates were low enough to make us feel like we were doing adulthood right. Derek works for a mid-sized consulting firm. He loves the language of professionalism, deliverables, timelines, stakeholder management. I work in communications for a nonprofit, so I'm used to translating complicated feelings into words people can understand. What I wasn't used to was my husband treating our marriage like a project he could pause. The thing is, Derek didn't block me because we had a normal fight. It wasn't like I'd yelled at him and he stormed off. It wasn't like we'd had some mutual agreement to cool down. He blocked me because I'd asked a question he didn't want to answer. The week before, he'd started coming home late, later than usual. He blamed client dinners and urgent revisions. He kept his phone face down at dinner. He'd started taking calls outside, even when it was raining. I told myself it was work stress, because that's the story I always told myself when something didn't feel right. Then Friday night, he came home smelling like a different cologne. Not his. Lighter. Citrusy. I noticed because I'm the person who notices scents and remembers them. I asked, lightly, "New cologne?" and he laughed a little too loud and said, "Someone in the office must have been wearing something strong." That night, he fell asleep on the couch with his laptop open. I didn't mean to snoop. I want to be clear about that. I wasn't hunting. I was cleaning up, closing his laptop so the cat wouldn't sit on the keyboard. When I went to shut it, a calendar invite popped up on the screen, centered like it wanted to be seen. Hotel bar catch-up, 9:30 p.m. No client name. No location except the hotel name. And it wasn't the hotel where his firm usually hosted events. It was across town, the kind of place you go when you want privacy with soft lighting and a crowd you'll never see again. My stomach dropped. I stared at it too long. Then the laptop shifted slightly as the couch cushion moved, and I saw the invite included one attendee besides Derek. A woman's name. I didn't recognize it. I didn't confront him that night. I told myself to sleep on it, to be rational, to not blow up over a calendar line. But the next morning, when he was making coffee like everything was normal, I asked, "Who is Claire?" Just that. Calm. Simple. Derek froze for half a second, mug halfway to his lips. Then he set it down slowly and said, "Why are you asking?" "Because your calendar has a hotel bar meeting with her name on it," I said, trying to keep my voice even. "And you've been coming home late." He stared at me like I'd accused him of murder. "You went through my laptop." "I closed it," I said. A pop-up appeared. "Right," he said, and his tone turned cold. "So now you're monitoring me." "I'm asking you a question," I said, and my heart was pounding. "Who is she?" He exhaled hard, like I was a problem on his to-do list. "Paige, I cannot do this," he said. "Not right now. I'm under pressure. I need you to stop." "Stop asking?" I said. "Or stop noticing?" That's when he said it. "I'm going to need 7 days," he told me, like he'd rehearsed it in the car. "No contact. Let me handle my work, and then we'll talk." I remember blinking at him. "No contact," I repeated, and it sounded insane in my mouth. "We live together." "I'll be staying elsewhere," he said, already grabbing his keys. "I can't deal with this right now." And then he did something I still can't get over. He stood there in our kitchen, thumb moving over his phone screen, and watched me as he blocked my number. Like he wanted me to feel it. He left. Just like that. So by Monday morning, when my calls wouldn't ring and my texts wouldn't deliver, my body had already been bracing for pain. It still hit anyway. At first, I tried to be the bigger person, the calm wife who respects boundaries. I told myself, give him space. Don't spiral. Don't do anything you'll regret. I went to work. I wrote an email about donor messaging while my hands shook on the keyboard. I smiled at coworkers like I wasn't living inside a silent alarm. I came home to an empty house and stared at Derek's shoes by the door until I couldn't breathe normally. Day 2, I started worrying about practical things. Mortgage payment. Shared accounts. The fact that he'd taken his laptop but left most of his clothes. The fact that his absence wasn't just emotional, there were logistical ripples. I tried emailing him at his personal email. No response. I tried messaging him through a mutual friend, and my friend replied with, "He said he needs space. I don't want to get involved." That sentence made me feel like I was watching people politely step over me like I was something on the sidewalk. Day 3, I got a notification from our bank that our joint credit card had been used at a hotel. The same hotel name from the calendar invite. My vision tunneled. My hands went cold. I stood in the grocery store holding a carton of eggs while my brain tried to stitch reality together. He wasn't just needing space. He was spending our money at the place where he was catching up with Claire. That night, I sat at our kitchen table with my laptop open and my phone beside it like a useless brick. The kettle ticked as it cooled. The cats paced and meowed because they could feel my energy turning sharp. I stared at Derek's contact in my phone, at the little blocked reality I couldn't touch, and something in me shifted from panic to this quiet, practical anger. If he wanted to cut off contact, fine. But he didn't get to cut off accountability. I opened my email and typed a subject line I never imagined I'd type: urgent, unable to reach Derek, personal safety/HR concern. I didn't send it right away. I stared at it for a long time. My hand hovered over the trackpad. I asked myself if I was being petty. If I was being dramatic. If I was about to embarrass myself. Then I remembered the hotel charge. The calendar invite. The way he'd blocked me like I was spam. I wasn't emailing to tattletale. I was emailing because a man who disappears without contact while still sharing financial responsibilities is not just being stressed. He is creating a situation where I have no information and all the risk. I wrote the email carefully. No insults. No accusations I couldn't support. Just facts. Hi, my name is Paige Williams. I am Derek Williams' spouse. Derek left our home on Saturday after a conversation and has blocked my phone number. I have been unable to reach him for 3 days and I'm concerned about his well-being and about time-sensitive financial/legal matters that require contact. If Derek is in the office or reachable through company channels, please ask him to contact me immediately. I attached a screenshot of my failed message attempts. I included my phone number and personal email. I kept it short because I didn't want it to sound like a novel. Then I found the general email listed on his firm's website for his department, because Derek had always bragged about how responsive leadership was. My finger hovered over send again. Then I hit it. I expected nothing. Or I expected a generic reply, "We can't help, this is personal, we'll forward," something polite and slow. Corporate silence. Instead, 2 minutes later, literally 2 minutes, my inbox pinged. The reply was from a woman named Angela, a director title in her signature. "Paige, thank you for reaching out. I'm sorry you're dealing with this. Derek is currently on an approved leave and not in office. However, we take safety and well-being concerns seriously. Can you confirm the last time you spoke to him directly and whether you believe he may be in danger? Also, for clarity, are you stating he has blocked contact while still accessing shared financial resources?" I stared at the screen, heartbeat hammering. 2 minutes. Which meant someone was watching. Which meant Derek hadn't just vanished from me, his workplace knew he was on leave. He hadn't told me he was taking leave. I typed back, "Hands steady now, because once you have an opening, you don't waste it." Last direct contact was Saturday morning. He stated he wanted 7 days with no contact and then blocked my number. I do not believe he is physically unsafe, but I am concerned about deceptive behavior, financial exposure, and the fact that he is uncontactable while still tied to our shared obligations. I noticed a charge on our joint credit card at hotel name, which is why I'm escalating. I pressed send. The response came fast again. Understood. We will request Derek contacts you today. Please keep this thread updated. Then, this part still makes my hands shake when I think about it. I got a call from an unknown number 5 minutes later. Derek. His number finally came through, like a door unlocking. I answered on the first ring. "Hello?" My voice sounded steadier than I felt. His voice was low, furious, like he was trying not to shout. "What the hell did you do?" he snapped. "Why are you emailing my boss?" I stared at the wall, at a tiny crack near the light switch I'd never noticed before. I felt my pulse in my throat. "You blocked me," I said. "What did you expect me to do, Derek? Wait quietly while you spend our money at a hotel?" There was a sharp inhale. "It's none of your..." "It's literally my business," I cut in, and my voice shook now because anger finally had somewhere to go. "We're married. We have shared accounts. You don't get to vanish and leave me in the dark." He lowered his voice even more. "I told you I needed space. You don't get to demand space by making me powerless," I said. "Space is a conversation. Space is boundaries. What you did was control." He went silent for a second, and I could hear background noise, traffic, maybe. Then he said, "You embarrassed me." I almost laughed. It came out as a breath. "You embarrassed yourself," I said quietly. "Because if your boss replied in 2 minutes, it means you've done something before that made them take this seriously." His tone sharpened. "I'm not cheating." I didn't answer right away. My stomach tightened. "Then explain the hotel charge," I said. "Explain, Claire. Explain why you took leave and didn't tell me." He hesitated, and in that hesitation I felt the truth moving like a shadow. "It's complicated," he muttered. "No," I said, and my voice went very calm, which surprised me. "It's actually simple. Either you're honest with me right now, or I start protecting myself the same way you've been protecting yourself." He laughed, harsh. "Protecting yourself? By running to my boss?" By making sure you couldn't disappear without consequences, I said. Because you thought blocking me would make me stop asking questions. He didn't respond. Then, quietly, he said, I'll come by tonight. We'll talk. And you will unblock me, I said. He exhaled. Fine. The line went dead. When I checked my messages, the next text went through immediately. Like the block had been lifted the moment his job got involved. That little detail made me feel sick. He could have unblocked me anytime. He chose not to until it threatened him. That night, he came back to the townhouse smelling like the hotel bar's expensive hand soap, eyes tired, jaw clenched. He sat on the edge of the couch like a visitor and tried to frame everything as stress, as pressure, as him needing clarity. He insisted Claire was a coworker. He insisted the hotel was neutral ground. He insisted he blocked me because you were spiraling. I listened. I asked questions. I watched him dodge and twist and minimize. I realized the problem wasn't just the hotel or Claire. It was the fact that he had tried to erase me for a week like I was an inconvenience. I told him I wanted separation. I said it quietly. Not as a threat. As a decision. He stared at me like I'd spoken in another language. You can't do that over one bad week, he said, incredulous. It wasn't one bad week, I replied. It was you showing me who you are when you think you can get away with it. The next day, I opened a new bank account. I moved my paycheck. I froze the joint card. I booked a consultation with a lawyer because I needed facts, not feelings. Derek kept texting, apologizing, blaming, bargaining. I didn't block him. I didn't need to. Silence wasn't my weapon. Clarity was. I still don't know exactly what happened between him and Claire. I may never know the whole story, because people who block their spouse for 7 days aren't usually honest when they're cornered. But I know this, anyone who thinks they can mute you out of your own life is someone you eventually have to unmute yourself from. If you made it to the end, thanks for watching. And if you've ever had someone try to disappear on you, block you, ghost you, cut you off like you didn't exist, share your story in the comments. I read them, and it helps to know you're not alone when someone's silence is louder than any confession.